Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Bone Podcast, where we discuss all things crypto market. That includes the majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and of course, NFTs and meme coins. Today, we're going to be talking about the FBI sting operation on meme coin market makers. We're going to talk about the details about a potential launch of World Liberty Financial as soon as next week and how much they're raising at what valuation. And finally, we're going to be joined by Richard, the CTO of Tensor, to talk about all the exciting announcements they had at Breakpoint and maybe get a little bit of alpha in there about what they have coming in the future. Beautiful Thursday here. It is October 10th, 10/10. It is me and my wife's anniversary. I have to shout that out today to give her a little bit of love. How you feeling today, Sig?
Happy anniversary, Ray. I hope you, how many years have you been married now?
It's been 4 years. I have the easiest anniversary of all time, 10/10/20.
10/10/20, very, very easy. So like I think I remember like the early years are really lame. All I know is that you have to get to 50 and 60 to get the diamonds and the rubies. Like the good stuff doesn't come for decades. I think you're in paper, wood, somewhere around there for your anniversary. I'm being serious. Like it's paper or wood, right? Around year 4.
I don't know what you mean at all.
Oh,
but it sounds
okay.
like I have a diamond hand until I get to diamond status.
Well, basically, every year for your anniversary, you're meant to give a gift, and every year it's marked by a material. So when you get, I think to your 50th, I think it's rubies, your diamond is your 60th, I believe, something like that. But the early years, it's okay. It's okay. You can do, it's easy. I think year 1 is paper. I think year 2 is wood. You're only, when you get to year 4, you're probably somewhere in like brass territory. I don't think you need to, you're not spending money in the first 10 years or so. They thought about it. They thought about it. Like if you get to 50, you get out the diamonds, but year 4, you're somewhere around brass. So happy anniversary.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Most of ours involve sugar and sushi. So that's a lot of what we're doing on our anniversaries. We like to keep it pretty low key. Easy. Where are you at? It looks like a pretty cool setup you have going on there. A little bicycle in the background.
I'm in Bali. That's
Nice.
cool.
What time is it there?
9:08 p.m.
Oh, that's not bad.
Not
bad at all. How you feeling today?
I'm kind of tired.
Yeah. Long day?
Yeah. Well, I'm working EST hours, and I had to get up at 9 a.m. to meet somebody to get a motorbike. So I have a moped.
Oh,
I'm in the jungle. So like that stuff's not really walking distance where I am right now. So you kind of have to drive. Dude, these motherfuckers drive crazy. They drive crazy. They drive crazy. Like I see people pull them like the mopeds up on the sidewalk to pass cars, wrong side of the road. Like they don't care about anything. They don't care about anything. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Yeah, well, be safe out there. While we get set up, and before the weather report, I just want to say this show is brought to you in partnership with Tensor. We're going to be talking to Richard about a lot of this later. Tensor is the leading Solana marketplace. For anyone who's not aware, if you aren't aware, you've been living under a rock. Tensor provides all the tools you need to have an advantage in NFT trading. They also made a ton of exciting announcements at Solana Breakpoint last month. They open sourced their entire protocol. We're going to dive into that deeper with Richard. And in doing so, they're offering 50% fee split to developers who build on top of their platform. In addition to this, you can also earn Tensor grants if you just go to tensor.foundation. If you're looking to build something cool on top of Tensor, whether it's NFTs, NFT-Fi, anything using their protocols, you can get a grant in addition to earning fees once you go live. So go to tensor.foundation to apply for a potential grant or learn how to build more on Tensor. We have a absolutely stacked lineup to talk about today. So why don't you just go ahead and take it away with the weather report here, Signal?
Yeah, absolutely, Ray. Let's get into that weather report on Thursday, 10th of October. If we look at the crypto roundup, the majors, they are down on the day, unfortunately. Bitcoin heading in the wrong direction. It's just under 61K. Ethereum also down at under 2,400. And Solana, we were in the 150s not long ago, but now it's at 139. The leading top 100 coin, it was Uniswap's Uni token. That is back up over 12% on the day to a 4.8 billion market cap. Over the past 24 hours, top three stories. Well, firstly, it's all about the FBI. The FBI came in and they have charged 18 people and companies for crypto market manipulation. Who couldn't predict this was going to happen? But the story here is that to catch them, the FBI created their own token as the bait, but it was a switch. So good bait and switch from the FBI. Secondly, The Block reports that Trump's World Liberty Financial is raising $300 million at a 1.5 billion valuation in an initial sale of 20% of their token supply next week. Initial tokenomics showed 63% of total supply available for user rewards and 20% going to the team. Finally, CPI and jobless claims both came in this morning over estimates, pointing to a slowed job growth and increasing inflation. Odds of a 50 basis point rate cut at the November FOMC meeting has now doubled as a result. We thought everything was going to be okay, but it looks like it's not. We'll talk about that more. But for now, it is back to the studio.
Excellent weather report as usual. Let's hang on that Fed rate decision. Easy. You've been pretty much calling this exactly, that inflation was going to come over and we're going to see that rate cut. Do you think we see a 25 or a 50?
25. 25 November, 25 December is the guesstimate here.
Interesting. I have a little bit of a hedge here. If anybody is interested, I don't know how much you're going to be making here, but there's like a pretty big gap between Kalshi and Poly Market on rate cuts for no rate cuts. There's a 21%.
Let's hear what it is.
21% chance of a hike on Kalshi, and we're looking at only 15 on Poly Market here.
Very interesting.
71% of 2 cuts on Poly Market. We're looking at 87% of 87% of 1 cut on Kalshi. So there are some gaps here that I may take advantage of on maybe some of these no's on Kalshi.
Yeah, I think the 50% basis point cut is a little bit too high. The Fed have been saying that since the numbers on the jobless reports have been revised quite a lot in the recent past, they do take them with a pinch of salt at the moment. So I don't think they're going to just go into doing another 50 basis point cut in November. I think they're going to do a moderate cut, and they'll do the 2 last cuts for November, December. So I'm on the same page as easy here, that we see 25 November, 25 in December. So that the Fed can just really interpret what the real data is and what those real numbers are towards the end of the year, rather than going off numbers that are being quite heavily revised over the past 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we have PPI data coming out tomorrow. Easy pointed to that as being probably the most important metric that he's looking at this week in terms of the rates and inflation. So that comes out tomorrow morning. I'm sure we'll be talking about that tomorrow. But let's move on a bit away from the rate cuts and talk about this FBI sting operation. Like this is pretty crazy seeing this. Easy, what did you make of this whole situation? Can you break down what exactly happened here?
So GotBit is a popular market maker for meme coins. None of the good ones, to be honest. Like most of their meme coin stuff is garbage. If they're involved, the tokens tend to just trickle down consistently. But the FBI released a token called NEX Fund AI, or Next Fund AI, and convinced GotBit to market make it in an attempt to see what illegal activity would take place. Bubble Map showed it was basically all insider traded. Thing was an absolute dumpster fire across the board, like literally across the board. And when I look at it, I'm just like, this is actually kind of crazy to see this type of swing here from the FBI making this change. I'm like, oh damn, okay, like pretty big move in my opinion. It's not terribly shocking, but all in all, I think 18 people were arrested. 4 have already pled guilty. There's a handful of these like smaller, low, I don't want to call them T1s, like T5s, market makers that were involved. So they launched a meme coin to put it on ETH. The contract's now no longer tradable, and GotBit to actually market make it.
You see this one? The Army
that's
CTO
crazy.
Announced
That's
1
crazy.
day ago that they partner with GotBit.
One single day.
One day. Imagine that. Like you're like, okay, they told me to use this market maker. Didn't do enough due diligence. That's pretty crazy. I talked about this in our private chat. I said, who's answering the CEO of GotBit with he had a post a couple weeks back, October, Moonvember, Pumpsember. I want somebody to quote tweet this with a January.
That's pretty funny.
I think what's I mean, I mentioned this a couple of, I think it was Monday when we were talking about meme coins, maybe on Tuesday, that we would start to see like people being arrested for market manipulation. That was it when we were talking about Murad and the low cap, sorry, Ansem and the low cap coins that he was shilling on Twitter. And I remember one of the things I said was like, we're going to start seeing people being arrested for this kind of stuff. My projection was like 5 years from now, but seems to be accelerating at a much faster pace, that they're actually looking at this kind of behavior now today. I'm not saying that Anson's getting like arrested, in the next 3 months. I'm just saying that this is like this kind of crypto sham behavior is on their radar, and they're going to be looking at it more and more. And so I don't think this will be the last of these stories. I know it's like a little bit tangential, but you saw, in the UK, earlier this year, there was some riots and things got a little bit heated in the UK, let's just say. And people were going on Twitter and are just spouting like really horrible stuff about different groups of people. And people ended up getting arrested off that, just having like a very sort of visceral opinion about a certain group of people. But the fact is, it wasn't free speech and it ended up being an arrest. And I think this kind of behavior, even though it's tangential to that, I think these kind of these market manipulation tweets, even though ethically we might not see it as market manipulation, clearly the FBI does. And I do think that for some of the larger accounts, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw criminal charges being pressed against them.
Do you see the odds of this spike when the news came out on the Ansem? We went up to 50% briefly on this prediction market that Ansem would face criminal charges in 2024 yesterday. Absolutely.
I don't think Ansem, if you're going to talk about Ansem, then you have to kind of talk about the whole group of people who participate in that kind of behavior. He just seems to be one of the loudest and with one of the highest profiles. But it's been interesting to see what's been happening with Murad and Zach XBT over the last sort of 24 to 48 hours, that it's clear that this pattern on behavior as we go into the meme coin super cycle of just tweet, if you have a large presence and just tweeting whatever you want. I remember Elon Musk saying the other day when the whole P. Diddy thing came out that, X is free speech, but is also a crime scene. So everything that you've tweeted in your past can essentially be used against you in the future. So I don't think this goes away just because we don't see an arrest in the next 3 months.
Yeah, hanging on meme coins. We had some crazy meme coin action yesterday with this Dolphin. I don't know much about this. I saw people complaining there are multiple names and multiple chains. What happened with this Dolphin meme coin story, Easy?
Yeah, it's this Dolphin, I guess. Porpoise dot something, I forget what the website was, but it pointed to like 4 different tickers. Its supposed real name, the secondary name it had, both 2 tokens on Sol. Then there was 2 ETH tokens for it. So there was 4 different tickers for this thing, all getting traction yesterday. And I mean, it ran as high as 8 mil, which is nuts for Miharu, the smiling dolphin. So it's a dolphin that smiles. It's pretty big, I guess, on social media. I don't know. I completely stayed out of this one because I was like, dude, I hate these PvP things. We just saw it with Mudang. We saw it with Nero. We're going to continue to see it. But I'm just, I want no part of it. No part of it.
I didn't trade any of these. So there's now not only is there multiple chains, there's multiple different names for the same dolphin, and they're all doing like the same exact pattern. Like, are these all ran by the same people? Like, what's going on here with meme coins?
You'd have to think, right? Like, somehow there's got to be some level of involvement that like multiple people have a hand in something here, And it's like, dude, what is going on with this? Like, literally, what is going on with this?
Like, they all have like their individual peaks that are like PvP'd at like different times, like over the last 3 days. So like, there's been just like heavy rotation between each one of these. Yeah, so
it's constant too. Like, it's constant, the rotation game. It's exhaustive. I don't know. I'm just tired of the PvP stuff. Like, just give me a good ticker. Just give me one good ticker. That's all I want. That's all I want.
So are you still like in the trenches? Are you like looking at PumpFun right now? Or are you like
literally this very second?
So what is like the graduation rate, and like what are your targets for meme coins in terms of like what's the like good exit on like a meme coin that like graduates? Like, what is the like target for like selling? How much are you holding? And like what determines like your plays there?
It's tough. I think it's like 1.9% of tokens right now that are launched graduate. And so it's like extremely low. But on that too, like you can still make money pre-graduation. Like that's the thing. Like you don't need a graduated token to make money. And the way that I look at it is like if I'm getting in at 8K, I'm probably selling the majority of the bag near like 30K. Like that's a great 3x. Like I'm fine with that. But like you should leave a moon bag because if that thing graduates, most tokens that graduate do touch 100K at some point. So that's kind of the thing we're seeing here. And I mean, dude, look at this. Daily active and new addresses on PumpFun's all-time high. Consistently all-time high right now, which is pretty nuts. The number of new token launches is downtrending, which is good because that means like less tokens, but still more people. So like seeing that number of people is great. Like that's a good sign. And I still think like honestly, truthfully, the best memes to like trade and swing are that like 1 to 5 mil range is like where you should be looking if you're trading. Just because those are the ones that have like held up and actually have some level of opportunity to kind of move.
Yeah, I struggle with like identifying. Like a lot of times I'll just be like looking through chats, looking in the Bodogos Whales chat when you drop some alpha or even just the Bodogos general to find some of these plays. So I don't do a ton of swing trading. Signal, have you been like paying any more attention to meme coins? I know you've been looking to put together a portfolio. It seems like things have cooled off on the top end right now. We're not seeing those like 40-50% gains every day for the Murad tokens. They've kind of been flat over the last 2 days. Are you still looking at putting something together right now or maybe holding off?
No, I actually like this time right now where you see this consolidation period across meme coins, because when you just have this up only, you get this sort of like euphoria on a timeline where everyone's shilling their bags, and it just feels very short term and fake. But I like this consolidation period, and the reason why I've been sort of more cautious around meme coins up until like this really Q4 this year is simply because like they're when you get into them early, obviously there's that hope that you're actually going to make some money on them. But what I'm interested to see is like how defensive they've been overall as sort of like an asset class. So for me, I completely see meme coins being where the attention will continue to be in 2025. So if I see consolidation now, I'm just like, okay, that's fine. We're clearly going to get a next leg up on, let's just call them some of the larger caps. So I really like the names that we've been talking about over the past few weeks on the show. I still think a majority of them are actually pretty interesting to be in. The lower cap stuff, like, where Easy was talking about like that sort of 8K to 30K mark, I don't really play around in that area simply because it just requires so much attention and time at your computer. I find it more mentally exhausting. So I'd rather just be in the more established, bigger names that are just going to cycle through as Bitcoin goes slightly higher and everybody gets excited, or interest rates get cut, Bitcoin goes up, everyone gets excited, and the memes are moving up. And also as well, like, I mean, we were talking a little bit about alts before the show, Ray. And for me, it's just become very clear. Like, if you don't understand an alts offering, then instinctively where you're going to put your capital is going to go to meme coins. And it sort of intersects with what we've been talking about with AI tokens. What are the protocols to be in? Like, there's so much research to be done across that area that it's just like, wow, that's going to take up a lot of my time. And I don't want to give so much time into like having to research 10, 20 alts, while meme coins are just so much easier to understand. So I think we're going to continue to see this meta where there's more attention on meme coins into 2025. Alts get less attention, not saying that they're not going to move. I think alts will still move, but most of the attention liquidity will stay on meme coins in 2025.
One thing that touches on meme coins a bit is the meme coin NFTs we're seeing. We saw a good amount run on ETH. They're connected to some of the bigger meme coins. Easy's been talking about Glorp for a while. This chart looks like it's showing some signs of life. Easy, are you still in Glorp? And like, what are you looking at?
The meme coin, yeah.
Versus the NFT. I was gonna say, which one?
Send the NFT to 3 Sol. That's what I'm looking at, 2x on it. Send the meme coin to 10 mil. That's the target. Like, the thresholds are 1 to 5, 10 to 15. And then like 50. Once you can break above like 10 to 15 and hold over that for an extended period of time, you have like a one-way ticket to 50 Sol or 50 mil. The NFTs though tend to lag and trade a little bit choppy, I guess you could say. So that's kind of like where my head's at. Yeah, all in all, I continue to look at this though, and I like Glorp here. I still like Finn. Trying to think what else I like in this like 1 to 5 mil range. Finn, Glorp, There was
Stan
another
there?
one the other day.
A little higher.
Stan. I like Stan. Kobe Gigacent. That was one I like. So like those are the ones that I really look at.
That's a nice looking chart for Stan.
Yeah, that chart's beautiful, dude.
And then Kobe.
That
Is
is
still
such a
back?
good chart.
I
No, it's piss missile up.
I had a buy.
It hit 16 mil overnight.
Yeah, so I didn't quite hit my my buy order here.
That's a good buy order though. Yeah, right where you want to be.
I should have got Stan easy after you said so. Yeah,
It's such a good thesis. It's subtle shilling every time. One sec, though. I'll be right back.
sure. Like I went to, sorry, this is a complete tangent. I went to like a bar class the other day, and the amount of like Gen Zers there were with just these bloody Stanley cups everywhere and their Lululemon gear. It was like part of like what you're meant to bring to a class. It was like you have your workout wear, you have your Stanley cup, and you have your mat. That is what you need to bring. So Easy called this so well, and it should have been one that I should have like gambled on this one. Kobe, can you just bring up Kobe again?
Yeah, this absolutely sent over the last 24 hours.
It's
37%.
and 37% in the last 24 hours.
Yep.
Oh, that's been a beauty. That's been an absolute beauty for this last Q4. It's annoying. I think I had this in my meme coin portfolio for the 2-week hold one, Ray, but obviously our 2 weeks is over. But everything has just been playing out. Well, the ones I've been talking about in theory are the ones that have been playing out practically. So I'm kind of annoyed that I wasn't in Kobe for real, and so I just have theoretical profits right now, which kind of sucks, to be honest. How's your portfolio doing on the names that you bought in the last week or so?
Let me run my little update script. I think we're up about 70%. It peaked as high as 80. I added a couple more. I added Mini, which was another Murad coin. I added Rocky, which is a coin that I think is cultish and has some of the Murad type of like price action and holders. We're at 66% positive right now on initial investment. Yeah, so that's looking good. I mean, I don't know if I don't think I made a great picks. I think I just like got very, very lucky in timing like the Murad stuff. And like I got lucky in like watching his video and like buying into his thesis semi early, because I wasn't even like very early to it. Some people who bought maybe 3 or 4 days before me probably would have like doubled or tripled that performance. So very lucky. It's all about timing and luck in this space. But like when I made this portfolio, it's for the long-term hold. So day-to-day price actions like fun to look at, but I'm really just holding it. I know it's going to probably ebb and flow, maybe go negative for a bit, but I think it's one that's going to be a good like a good bull market portfolio that I'm just holding.
Yeah, this one's really going to test your acid reflux skills, Ray. That's all I'm going to say. Like on the days that you're seeing plus 70%, it's going to feel good. But days where you're going to see like negative 55%, you're just going to have that feeling in your stomach of just wanting to vomit slightly. Just like it's just going to come up just a little bit up there. But I think you got good names. I think you got good names to take you into next year, to be honest. I think there'll be good names to hold through January, February.
Yeah, I mean, I've tempted just to press the sell all button, but I'm just going to stick with the thesis and just like it's just forcing myself to hold through. Easy on the other hand. How long are you actually holding your portfolio through end of year?
That's the
No matter
goal.
what?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have to, right? Like I'm saying I am. I got to check what the value of that port's at right now. I'll probably do a little analysis on it today because I'm very curious where it's at, especially with things like Giga, Aura's running, Harambe's running.
Stan look good.
Yeah, Stan looks great. Yeah, so I'm kind of like looking at it right now, and I'm like, it's been 4 days. I'm very curious to see like what the price is of these assets at this moment.
Tristan says Bitcoin runes.
Runes are doing well.
Let's take a look. Let's take a little peek. I know they're doing well over 30 days. Are they doing well? Oh, okay. We had, I'm still in my 30-day chart. I was going to say these are some green numbers if they were 30-day. 1 day, yeah, green across the board on runes, and a day that was a little red for meme coins. Cat in the Sats, 35%. That's an old one. Wada Wada Pengu is a 10K, under 10K rune. $1 billion cat, 20%. Pops up 10%. Decentralized the Kong's rune up 25%. So that's looking pretty good, pretty bullish across the board. The only one that's red here is the one that I own, of course, in Satoshi. Obviously, that's going to happen.
How's Mr. Yen, Japanese businessman, doing?
Let's take a look. You want that one, and then Bush did 9/11 as well.
Yeah, both of those.
Mr. Yen. So that one is It's got some pending buys on it right now. It looks like it's up. This is the daily chart. I wish they would use whatever Tensor uses for their charting here. That's looking pretty nice. I know you've been talking about this. It's up since we talked about it last.
It's the only one I own right now. And then Bush did 911.
See, this is rune number 29.
Damn, my aura bag's almost up 2x. We like that.
Yeah, so this one's not, Bush did 911. It's not doing too much. We did have a, we are seeing some interesting stuff out of ordinals. I looked this morning and we're getting like closing this gap here between puppets and node monkeys. We have an outstanding top dog question. Will Bitcoin puppets spank the monkey, or will they flip node monkeys at any point this week? And it's getting close. I don't think we see it still, but it's very, very close there on the ordinal side.
Dude, I think this portfolio is up a boatload right now, as I'm just looking at it, by the way. Lock-in's up 2x. Harambe's up, what's that, like 35%. Aura's up 2x. Mumu slightly down. Mog slightly down. And Giga slightly up. But like all my mid caps are up nicely, which is like what you love to see. Stands up nicely. And then Dog is the Dev is that last one.
Yeah, so this is, I'm showing Easy's meme coin portfolio on the screen right now if you're just listening. And he basically built 9 tokens, 3 high cap, 3 medium cap, 3 low cap to hold through the end of the year, and allocated different percentages to each. I believe it was like, actually, you'll have to remind me like how you did it with each tier, like where you allocated.
Yeah, so I tiered them out where it was like, if the way that I did it was 3 tickers above 50 mil, 3 tickers between 10 and 50, and 3 tickers under 10 mil. And it was $10,000. I put 2,000 into each of the ones above 50 mil, 1,000 into each of the ones between 10 and 50, and a total of $1,000 into the ones under 10 mil. So $333 into each. Kobe was 334, and just split it up that way. So basically like down the risk curve for it. And I'm doing the math right now as I take a look. I'm very interested to see what this is going to be, though. Very, very curious, because I think I'm up nicely on these as I take a look right now. I'm about to do some quick math.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the mid and small caps like really outperform the majors. Like I'm looking over here at the top 100 meme coins on Coin Market Cap, and like everything's in the red on the 7-day. Like the biggest mover is Whiff, up 13%. Popcat did have a nice week, up 23% to 1.1 billion. Like Nero, like absolutely cooked. We went from 360 million market cap up 95% to 730. The like Cabal,
Damn.
Ethereum, Nero. It looks like it's poised to get to 1 bill. Normally when something hits this like 700 mark, you almost always see it get over $1 billion at some point. So now it's like firmly in there with Popcat, Brett, Nero, Mog, Mew. I never really knew what Mew was as a meme coin, but I looked at some of their like graphics. It's pretty crazy, and they just announced a partnership, I believe, with Super Plastic.
I saw that.
Yeah, so
I
like,
saw
that's
that.
like
I was very surprised.
It's a pretty cool like collab for a meme coin to have.
Dude, I kind of got killed on slippage on these as I'm looking. Yeah, I mean, my Kobe buys up 2x, Lock-in's up 60%, Harambe's up 11%, Aura's up 60%, Mumu's down $280, Mog's down $85, Giga's down $70. Overall, we're up though. Overall, we're up, that's a good feeling. I think I got to hold this through the rest of the year though. I think that's like by law, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think you're going to hold it to the end of the year easy. If you, I'm sorry, like, I saw
Where's the poly market on that?
I saw the engagement on the tweet was like, will this get to $100,000? If that portfolio gets to like over 50, you're out. You're out. Like, yeah, because also as well, if meme coins are doing that, Solana's probably doing quite well. So it's just kind of like, do you really need to take the extra 50%? I don't think so. Look, but I think your portfolio would do well by the end of the year. But $100,000, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna take the poly market on that and say no.
So we're up 15% right now. 15%
in less than
in 3 days.
In 4 days.
Yeah.
4 days.
That's absolutely nuts.
And it's entirely carried by the mid caps. Almost fully carried by the mid caps.
And that's
We're
why
up $675. Harambe up 146. Lock-in up 600. So like that alone, if you do the math on that, that's $1,300, which is offset sadly by like the Moo Mod Giga, because then Kobe and Stan are also up. Dev is down about 10%.
Yeah, Dev is interesting. I'm interested to see what happens there. That's another low cap coin, but they have a rune, I think. Like there's a rune that's been pre-mined on Bitcoin. So I don't know what's going on with that, if that's going to be like migrated and how that affects price. So that's one to keep an eye on for sure. And with the mid caps, like it's interesting when you built your portfolio that way. Mid caps, when they run, you're getting more of a return since you have more invested there than the small caps, which is great to see. Let's move on a bit. We got Xcopy season continuing. We saw a huge sale of an Xcopy piece yesterday, 800 ETH for Chatbot and Chill. That's about $1.9 million as of this morning. Probably a little less now as ETH has dropped a bit after the inflation report, but we saw another huge Xcopy sale here, and it comes back on the back of another Xcopy mint coming today. So Xcopy has a mint on the Shape L2 network. It's called Cope Salata. Shape is the we talked about this, I don't know if it was this Monday or last Monday, but a new L2 launched with some big backing, and in terms of artists and collectors, we saw Harvey Rayner, DK Motion drop some pieces, Beeple's involved, Xcopy's now dropping a piece. So interesting to see here. This is going to be a 250 supply. It's all allow lists. We shared the allow list on our newsletter. There was a pre-mint link you could have checked out yesterday to potentially get some of those spots. If you want to sign up for our newsletter, go to bodogos.com. You can sign up there. A little bit of a plug there for us. We provide a newsletter Monday through Saturday now with all the news and insights, including information on upcoming mints. But yeah, Xcopy continues to roll, and Shape. I'm kind of curious how this is going to play out, because we see like more and more of like these big names coming in, but I'm not sure if like it's going to get traction. Like you can bring all the names, but like, is there liquidity there to buy the art at the end of the day? So I'm wondering like if this is like a dud or if we're just a little bit early, because some of these mints, like the Harvey Rayner mint, didn't even mint out yet at 0.1 ETH. So that's something that I'm watching in terms of Shape. And then we also are seeing like some other action on Shape. I don't know if you saw, they launched a meme coin on this.
Absolutely sent. Yeah, so dude, I wish I got in.
Yeah, this is the meme coin page here. I bought this morning. Just full disclosure, it's just a number and a buy button when you connect your wallet. That's all it is. And it got traction last night just because Beeple, who's involved with Shape, posted a Beeple one today. So he's heavily involved here. Like obviously this is probably pre-planned. But I don't know how much like meme coin culture there's going to be on an art focused network. So just interesting to bring that up.
I think the Xcopy mint's going to do very well, Ray. I think the demand, it's been interesting to watch the Xcopy sales for like the past month, maybe. Yeah, the past 4 to 6 weeks, they've just been consistent Xcopy sales like every single day. It's a good time to be that artist. This sale that just happened, the 1.9 million one, it came from, so the original buyer, I think they got it for something like 0.75 ETH in 2019. Was it 2019 or 2021? Sorry, I think it was 2019. And they held it until today. And so that is a phenomenal return in basically 5 years. And I think off the bat, like, because we've had this consistent sales for these 4 to 6 weeks, plus one of the highest sales ever, now this is definitely going to be, this mint happening today is definitely going to just ignite the market. Xcopy has been one of the few artists that have managed to just sort of consistently hold their price in the more rarer in their more rare art. I'm not talking about the 10K stuff that he's done, but more the rare work that he's done. He's been able to not only have a very loyal buyer base that is very sort of enthralled by their art, but the fact is that he has maintained his prices for so many years. I think this mint's going to do very well, Ray. I really do. I just don't see how, after what we've seen for the past 6 weeks, that somehow this is like not going to mint out or it's somehow going to be faded by the market. There's enough backing as well on the Shape network to really amplify this mint and what this mint, any other previous mints, and any future mints on there, all the artists supporting each other and also the backers.
Yeah, I mean, I think the mint's going to do well. I mean, right now it has a price of like 0.0008 ETH. So anybody who mints this is probably going to be flipping it for minimum, I'd say an ETH. I don't know what the floor is going to be on this, but I'd say 1 ETH is probably fair. Initially, it's a generative 250 supply X copy collection. So we'll see how it goes.
I don't know. Sorry, just to add to that, Ray, I know like I've spoken about this in the past, that you have these names that are coming out of this space that have just are just proving themselves that they are the ones that will, like, if this entire space was to go away and many artists and PFP projects were to go away and you had a few who would make it, Xcopy has just proven itself to be someone that is worth holding his art over the long term. So I don't know. I think it will make a good flip, but for anybody who's holding it, I just think as we keep seeing these sales come in, Xcopy is one to hold.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with Xcopy on Shape. I think it's a no-brainer to mint and hold, but I'm just concerned about the rest of the ecosystem. Just watching it right now, I need to dive in a little bit deeper to like look at total volumes and see if I can find some dashboards. But it's definitely, I mean, it's new and like it's going to take some time and it's going to take liquidity to kind of push that forward. And I'm not sure if we're gonna see that. Like it's really going to take like that art NFT season to pick up.
What have some of the other mints on there done? Like the Xcopy one on there ran. There was another one before that ran. Is bridging to this even easy?
Bridging to it is super easy. I did it this morning and got that meme coin in like, I don't know, less than 5 minutes.
Oh, damn.
So bridging is super easy. It's gas free. There's a DK Motion mint that I think sits at a 0.08 floor right now and minted for less than that. The Harvey Rainer still hasn't minted out at 0.1. But those are the highest profile mints. I'm sure someone's gonna be able to correct me if I'm missing something, but at like first glance, those are the big mints on the platform so far. But I like to experiment. So I threw some capital over there, and the meme coin was like the easiest like way for me to get over and just jump in and have fun. So now I've like started playing with like the profiles over there and just like seeing what it's all about. But like I can't bring myself to like mint or buy yet any piece of art on it. They do have like a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of live drops and it's from a lot of people I haven't heard of. But there are some mixed in there that like I have heard of, but I mean, there's no shortage of art and it looks like it's not like low quality. Like, there's nothing in here that stands out.
No, that's some great artists.
Yeah. Nothing stands out here as like being something that'd be like, just like everyone can put whatever. So I think it's somewhat curated, but lots of pieces out here that are like open minting. So it's like kind of what I asked is like, are we early to this ecosystem right now with some of these mints, or is it going to be a dud? Here's the DK Motion one.
Yeah, that's fair. Very interesting.
Yep.
Wait, we got a game show today. We got a game show. I want to play games.
You're gonna play games. Well, we're about to have Richard on, so we're gonna be talking to him shortly. Ooh, so that'll be a fun little game we can play. Before that though, I just saw this. Am I like late to the party here? This rec coin page?
No, I mean I brought this up. I had said that I thought that they were getting a coin because they had teased that. Remember? I had said I was like, yeah, I think they have an airdrop. Just because they've been teasing like airdrop graphics and some of these other things. So I thought that was like kind of known that they had that. And there's an announcement that they're working with Horizon Labs.
How are they like, didn't they go public? What happened there? Didn't they like give shares away?
They gave shares away. They gave shares away. And then they've been, if you've been creating content, you could be getting some of the tokens as well. So basically Rec Guy ran off. So that's back up to 0.7. So Rec Guy ran off the back of this. But I think like Rec Guy and just the entire ecosystem is probably one of the most interesting NFTs still to hold. I really do think like if you just think about how OSF has like what he's done for the space, where he's taken his career, what he's trying to do now with the drinks brand, he's going to integrate everything together. And I know like in some of the sort of the names that we talk about, Pudgies, Doodles, etc. You know, Pudgies is always spoken about as a collection that brings their community along. Doodles is one where it's just like the community is sort of less. It's kind of forgotten about in the journey of like Doodles. You know, we are not an NFT project, that kind of language around it. But Rec Guy, you know that OSF is going to take the community along with him, and being part of that community will, like, you will be rewarded in it. And I think it's very much worth keeping an eye on what he's doing with his drink, because he really he was in Singapore with it, I believe. He's always at all of the big exhibitions that are happening around the world. He's really pushing it, and his focus is on this drink. Obviously, I'm a shareholder, also got an original can from back in Paris, but so slightly biased here, but I just think really as a builder in the space, OSF and what he's doing with Rect is one to keep an eye on. And the NFTs, they go quiet. So like a lot of the time they're just sort of chilling around that 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 range. Then they have a run, then they pull back. But it's a great NFT to accumulate when attention is not there, because there will be something coming for the community.
Yeah, this is interesting one to watch. I think Rec Guys get over an ETH here. I'm like thinking about, like, is that going to compete with like Epic Duck, like our Rec coin, or are they going to be like complementary in some sort of way?
But it's two different things, like, because I see it linked to the drink, and I imagine how OSF is thinking about it is like, how can I boost sales for the drink as well as reward the community, plus the NFT holders, plus bring in new people who don't want to have the NFT, but somehow might want to be able to have some of the token. Like, I think he's really thinking about it holistically. I don't really see it as like Epic Duck's just as kind of like this meme coin, and it's going to run as Mando brings attention to it. But I see it as two kind of separate entities.
Yeah, before we have Richard on, we should probably dive in a bit to the World Liberty Financial news. Talk about this. Basically, they announced that they were going to, they basically put a governance proposal on Aave's forum to launch an Aave v3 instance on Ethereum mainnet. They also talked about it building on Scroll as well. And we saw news come out of the block this morning with them basically like planning to raise at a $1.5 billion valuation. $300 million raise, 20% token sale initially. I think they have 63% earmarked for sale, 17% earmarked for community rewards, 20% for the team. What are your thoughts here? I know I didn't KYC because I'm not a accredited investor in the US. Signal, are you planning on participating in this sale as a speculative play, or is it something you're going to stay away from?
No, I think it's an interesting speculative play to do. I mean, if he becomes president, it's really interesting. If he doesn't become president, then I think this will be a project that at the end of the day, he's tied his name to. And I think he's gonna. I mean, saying it's a 1.5 billion valuation, that is absurd. I'm sorry, but that is absolutely absurd. But if that's what like the Trump cabal is putting together, I don't think it's something you can ignore. And there's certain things that come out that have proven to have come out of like the Trump circle, like his first NFT. When his first NFTs came out, I remember the live stream, Easy. I think you were on it actually. I think it was you, Kix, and Pio, and they came out and they weren't selling. They were selling, but they're selling really, really slowly. And I think as you guys are talking about it on the live stream, all of a sudden it sold out, and then it just completely ran. And I still think
exploded,
yeah, they absolutely exploded. And then you had like the following days where there was all this sort of secondary market and sort of the more rarer ones going. But I think something like this is still very much under the radar and under radar. It's not really been spoken about outside of crypto. I think people in crypto as well, because so many people have like political affiliations and they don't like him. They get emotionally sort of involved and think, I'm not going to go into it because it's Trump. It doesn't really matter that it's him. It's going to run because of him. And whether you like him or not, it could be one of those things that just ends up running. You're kind of like just hating yourself because you're like, I hate Trump. That's why I didn't invest. And now this token has gone on a run. I just think it's interesting. I'm not saying it's going to be successful, but I'm just saying, I think there's too much, like he's too decisive and too polarizing that a lot of people will ignore it. And it's something that potentially has legs.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think that's the biggest thing is that there's a major like presidential candidate that's tied to a DeFi protocol and a DeFi project.
So you got to look at the docs, because in the very bottom line, it says that there's no affiliation from Donald Trump or family members to this protocol. Because I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, this is the Trump team launching this. They're like hyper conscious to basically give them an out to be like, yeah, we're not involved at all.
Yeah, I mean, they're not involved, but they had a space with the Trumps on it with Farouk talking about the project. So, I mean, they could say they're not involved, but they're involved. But
Yeah,
just wanted to touch on that pretty quickly. We have a special guest waiting, the CTO of Tensor, who announced some exciting news coming out of the Tensor Foundation and Tensor Protocol at Solana Breakpoint. Everyone give a nice little warm welcome here to Richard. How you doing, Richard? How you feeling today?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, doing great. It's been a while since we've had you on. I think it's been like since January.
Yeah, it's been a
lot's
while.
Lot's happened at Tensor.
Founder mode. Both me and Ilmo have been in founder mode the entire time. But we managed to fly out to Breakpoint, meet up with Easy and a couple of other folks. So back to the grind though.
Is it still just you two working on the protocol, or do you have a larger team now?
Yeah, it's literally just us two, no one else. No, I think the team is 20 large right now. We have about 11 folks on the engineering team, a couple of people on the commercial team. So it's not just me and Ilmo in the trenches anymore.
How's that feel? Is the work-life balance a lot better now?
No, in fact, it's worse because now you have to manage a lot more people. But these are great people, so they're quite independent. There's actually not that much management, but just figuring out that, making sure that they're engaged, making sure that they feel fulfilled, that they're showing up to work every single day, excited to work on what we've been building in the past couple of months.
Yeah, and speaking of what you've been building, it's been a long time since we've had you on. For people who may not be familiar with you, what is your background? And like, could you give us just like a very brief like history of like Tensor and how you launched it and where you see Tensor going forward?
Yeah, I'm not gonna sort of go through the entire history. I think we've mentioned that quite a number of times on other podcasts. But I'm one of the co-founders and CTO of Tensor. I bought my first NFT actually on Solana in 2021. So I didn't start off as an ETH maxi. I started off as a Solana maxi. It was actually Cubist Collective. I don't know if you guys remember.
Oh, I remember Cubist, the predictions market.
Yeah, but they weren't always a prediction market. They were, I don't quite remember what they were initially, but it was some data science thing that they were doing before, and then they pivoted to a prediction market. That was a hot minute because it was basically pre-launch prediction markets, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
And then I made a 5x on DGODs shortly after, and then I became hooked on NFTs.
Yeah, that's great. So we've been like seeing the development of Tensor over time, showing all the advanced features, charting, et cetera, like really giving an advantage to NFT traders who trade on the platform. We had some big news come out of Tensor at Breakpoint with the open sourcing of your protocol. Can you explain to the audience like why this is so significant? Yeah, that'd be great.
Sure. So for those who don't know, open sourcing in software basically means you make all of the code specifically for this. For what we did, we made all of our smart contract code publicly available on GitHub. There are three major points there. One is transparency. We want to show that we have nothing to hide. All of these smart contracts are completely transparently available, so you can go and source dive. Second point is trust. So if you were a dev, or even if you use ChatGPT nowadays, you can actually start reading the code and understanding, hey, what exactly is going on Tensor smart contracts? Instead of us telling you, trust me, bro, trust that we are doing the right things here. The third thing is that if you're a dev or if you're someone who's interested in building Solana smart contracts, now you can use our code base as an example of how to write really good Solana smart contracts. And fun fact, that's exactly what we did initially is we just looked at other protocols in Solana, went through their source code and learned how to write really great Solana smart contracts. And I think that's how most Web3 devs actually start, is they look at other example projects, just because a lot of things are open source now. And so what we did was we open sourced it right during Breakpoint. And this is big because now anyone can build on top of us without ever having to talk to us in DMs, right? So when you first started in Solana, you had to get an API key from most of the top marketplaces to even like interact with it if you're building a bot. But now you can build a bot, you can build an entire vertical marketplace without ever having to talk to us. So hopefully we see a lot more fun, degenerate, innovative NFT apps being built on top of Tensor. And hopefully that starts next NFT bull cycle.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I think the 50-50 dev fee split is going to attract talent to the space. You also announced Tensor grants for developers. Two questions here that kind of relate to each other. A, like, what's the best way to get a grant to build on top of Tensor? And B, what are you excited to see? Like, what are some examples of different platforms that you would be excited to see built on top of Tensor?
Yep. So getting a grant is quite easy. You go to tensor.foundation. So tensor.foundation. That's Tensor Foundation is basically the organization that launched the TNSR token, and they are giving grants in TNSR to anyone who wants to build on top of the Tensor protocols in order to expand the Tensor ecosystem. So we want to see like a pretty vibrant satellite or network of apps, protocols being built around the Tensor protocols to proliferate all the good stuff that we're doing with NFTs. So some things that we'd like to see be built on top, and I'll give you some examples here that's more concrete. First big category are vertical marketplaces. In fact, for those who don't know, Drip House, they've essentially built a vertical marketplace on top of Tensor, where if you go to drip.house right now, and you go to any NFT edition, you'll see that they have a button or even a link to Tensor, and that will actually trigger a purchase directly to the Tensor protocol. So you can start buying Drip NFTs without ever having to leave Drip House's website directly from our protocols. A couple of other examples, trading bots or trading tools is pretty popular. So someone in our community actually built something called Chatbot, and that basically let you provide liquidity for NFTs quite easily without ever having to write your own code. It's essentially hands-off farming for NFTs. And I think chance-based games have been underexplored in the space. So it'd be cool to see someone build, for example, loot boxes, NFT loot boxes, or even like a raffling system on top of a marketplace. We don't have to put up the NFT up front. You can have an NFT listed on the marketplace and create a raffle around it.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That's like similar to the YOLO buy that you have already, just kind of taken to a different level. You've been dealing with the NFT marketplace for a few years now. What's been the worst and the best part about navigating that space?
I think the best part is, I think it's undeniable that the NFT communities are still around. They're still active on Twitter. We constantly see Tensorians reply guy us, engage with the rest of CT. And I think in even these private DMs and group chats now, vast majority of folks are representing some NFT community. So despite the fact that they might be trading meme coins now or doing other things in crypto, DeFi farming, whatever you call it, I think a lot of people still have that emotional connection to their favorite NFT project, and that hasn't changed since the last cycle.
Yeah,
I think Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, as I say, you definitely do see that community like continue to build. Like you do see the majority of like PFPs on Twitter are NFTs still, which is interesting. Easy. Did you have a question or anything you wanted to ask Richard here? I know you've been very deep in the NFT market for a very long time.
Yes, I mean, I know this is kind of I don't know how much of this you can answer, but I'm curious. With the Breakpoint announcement, you guys announced Vector, and I guess I'm curious if you can give us any light on what to expect, if anything, from that. Any alpha you might have for the audience.
Yeah, so you've been using Vector for a while, so you have all the alpha.
So I do, yeah.
Yeah. So I think what makes Tensor, the team specifically, interesting is we are quite impatient, and we don't like to sit around and wait for, let's say, the NFT market to come back. And we're quite observant with what's happening in the market right now. So Vector, for those who don't know, is something that we've been working on heads down. The entire engineering and product team have basically been iterating on this new product for a couple of months now. It's basically our baby, and some of our biggest fans and users like Easy here have been working with us quite closely to give us feedback, to iterate on the product. The reason is we want it to become a showstopper once we launch it publicly. So at Breakpoint, we teased that we opened up a waitlist. So if you want to be one of the first people to try out the product once it's ready, definitely go check out the waitlist at vector.fun. It's on the screen right now, www.vector.fun. Sign up for that waitlist, put in your email. I want to say more about it, but I think you guys will find out quite a bit in a couple of weeks. That's all I'm saying. So I don't want to leak too much right now because I do want to I do want to keep a bit of exclusivity for the guys who are using the app right now. So I don't want to leak too much about it. But let's just say that we are not oblivious to where the market's at right now. And we want to be able to provide what our users want and make our users happy. And our users are definitely spending a lot of their time elsewhere.
Yeah, we definitely have seen that shift to meme coins and like ERC 404s. I know Tensor has done a lot of support for 404s in the past. Do you see the 404 meta with NFTs like being potential future for like NFTs as a whole?
I think the biggest thing with 404s is if you get too deep into the nuance of it, it's a little too complicated for retail and degens. I think the nice thing about NFTs is it's simple. It's basically JPEGs on the internet that you can trade. Or it's Pokemon cards with, not just limited to trading card games, but it could be anything. Meme coins are easy because you're essentially like buying something that looks and feels like a stock, right? Not saying that it's a security, but it looks and feels like a stock, and so a lot of people can know what to do with it. Because I think 404s is kind of in between. It's a little complicated to explain to people that, hey, you can swap between the tokens and an NFT, and that can be a random process. I do think that someone who is clever enough and will spend enough time with just different fun mechanics or games around it will crack the code and actually make 404s interesting for degens and retail to play with.
Yeah, that makes sense. Signal, while we have Richard here, is there anything you want to ask him about Tensor and the direction they've been going?
Yeah, no, I'm just curious, Richard, as a founder, when it comes, like you said, you're cognizant of the NFT market and sort of the atmosphere around it at the moment. And then you mentioned your new plans for Vector. I don't know what Vector is, but I'm excited also to find out. But I'm just curious from a founder perspective, what keeps you up at night when you're thinking about the future of NFTs and Tensor?
So I think for NFTs specifically, it's kept us up many, many nights, especially a couple months back. So we grew quite quickly in market share for a very short period of time back in, I think, completely lost track of time, but I think earlier this year, or I think it might have been end of 2023. That was really exciting because as a founder, as someone who's building a startup, momentum and growth is the most addictive drug ever. It's just awesome to see your user base growing 10% every single week, your volumes going up 20% every single week. That's just very addictive if you're in this game. And I think the biggest thing that kept us up right after we reached peak market share, sitting at 70%, fluctuating between 50 to 70%, was we saw that the NFT market wasn't growing. I think people were disenamored by the promises that some of these NFT projects made during the bull cycle. And I think people got fed up and they just wanted to pause, take a step back, and look at other things in crypto. And so we made a pretty conscious decision to basically rally the team behind Vector and try to focus our efforts on something that we believe has a lot of growth, has a lot of potential for Tensor, without us having to wait for the NFT market to come back. That being said, like all this being said, we do think the NFT market will come back in maybe a similar or some other form. And it'll probably be 2x, 3x, maybe even 10x bigger than what it was last cycle. That being said, we don't want to let destiny not be in our own hands. We want to manifest it ourselves. Hence why we are spending a lot of time working on this new product called Vector.
Ray, you're muted.
Sorry. My dogs are scratching upstairs and making a bunch of noise. Yeah, I said you love to see that skating to where the puck's going and not where it's at, not staying complacent, like realizing market conditions are shifting and there's stuff out of your control that you cannot do, even if your product is the best on the market to grow the market that it's in. I love to see that. Are there any closing questions that we haven't asked yet? Sig, Easy, anything you want to ask Richard before we wrap up here?
I mean, sorry, Easy, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
No, just kind of racking my brain here real quick. It's, I guess, kind of like in the current market, what's been the most exciting thing you think's happening right now, and what's the one thing you wish was different? It's a tough question, extremely open-ended, but I'm curious, like,
when you say market, do
where
you
your
mean all
mind
of
is.
crypto or do you mean trading markets?
Trading markets, active trading markets.
To be honest, I haven't been deep in the trenches with the trading market. I barely have any time to trade nowadays. The only thing I've seen is obviously things happening on Vector. That's my source of alpha nowadays. I think what is interesting though, when it comes to maybe like where people are spending a lot of their time and trading volume and all that stuff. I think we're starting to see. So one, I think the idea that you can essentially attach price to any idea or concept or news event is really cool. So prediction markets is the most obvious front and center market where you can attach a price to an event. And of course, politics is the biggest the biggest topic right now for prediction markets. But I think meme coins essentially democratizes the ability to attach price to anything without having to create something that is much more restricted around an event. So you can essentially bet on how much attention you think a given topic or meme will get, and you can make money off of that. I think that's not going to go away. I think that maybe the current wave of like maybe more degenerate stuff will become boring after a while. But I think betting on ideas, betting on trending topics, zeitgeist will always be a thing. And I think meme coins this cycle showed us that.
I just got one last question, which was, Richard, so 2021 was a perfect storm. We had, quantitative easing, money just being helicoptered, people locked in there. Sorry, 2020, this was people locked at home, which led to 2021. And you're talking about when NFTs come back and there's that sort of like hopium around them as well. What do you think the catalyst events are, if you could predict them, for NFTs to come back?
So my thesis is that whenever it comes to these cycle events in crypto, it usually takes at least 2 cycles where something is hot one cycle, they go away in the next cycle because the next cycle is still has a bunch of people from the last cycle and they feel burned from the last cycle. And it takes basically another cycle, so a cycle in between, for people to forget about what happened in 2 cycles before. I think we kind of saw this with meme coins. So back when Doge, Shiba, all of that stuff came about, that was the cycle before the most recent, I guess the one before this. Like the one before this was DeFi Summer and NFTs. Dogecoin happened the cycle before that. And I think people are starting to realize, hey, maybe there was something in the idea of launching meme coins that was completely, had no utility, had no fundamentals. It was just fun to speculate on a dog coin or a cat coin. And so I think it just takes time for things to come back. I think for NFTs, it'll take time. Might happen this cycle, but my guess is it'll come back in the next cycle when people forget about how much it got burned with NFTs in 2021.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And it's so hard to predict what's going to happen because a lot of times what does end up fueling the next cycle are these emergent characteristics that you can't pinpoint exactly where it comes from. With the meme coins, like you said, you had like the Doge cycle where Doge was running and people figured out that, hey, like price goes up and that's fun when price goes up. And then after, that cooled off, people are like, hey, remember when we traded meme coins and price went up? We don't even need any of the tokenomics behind it. We just need to be trading fun ideas. And I think that's super interesting. We're coming up on the end of the show now. Thank you so much for joining us, Richard. It's been awesome hearing all about the open sourcing, the grant program, and getting a little tease on what Vector is. Thanks so much. Can't wait to have you on again. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your week here. And like I said, can't wait to have you again.
Appreciate you guys having me on. This was fun.
We'll see you. All right. That's going to wrap up the show today. Thank you for listening. This is the Daily Bone Podcast. We run this show every weekday, Monday to Friday. You can catch us on all major streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple. You can catch us on YouTube if you want to see our pretty faces and the screen shares. That's going to do it for today. Have a great day.